Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với phần 2 của chương trình FBNC câu chuyện bất động sản. Và ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta sẽ bàn về chủ đề Hiệp hội Bất động sản Hoa Kỳ cùng với hai vị khách mời. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
So, could you talk more about the governance structures of the National Associations of Realtors?
Certainly. We are a membership organization of 1 million members. And since we represent 1 million members, they are the people who really run the association. Mm-hmm. So think of it as a pyramid of sorts, where we are the national association that brings together the entire country. We have 50 state associations, and then we have 1,400 local associations. So they all have a charter from the National Association of Realtors. They all follow our code of ethics. What does this mean for somebody in Vietnam? It means no matter where in the United States you go, and no matter what your real estate needs are, we are present in every city and municipality in the United States. Now on the global side, we have a committee. It's called the Global Business and Alliances Committee. And these are where all of the experts in global real estate come to make decisions on how the National Association of Realtors can work with countries and organizations in markets like Vietnam to put together products, programs, and services that are both profitable and mutually beneficial for both sides.
What are some of the goals and programs promoted by the Global and Alliance Committee?
The goals are really multitude of different programs, but the end result is to be relevant in these international real estate capital flows. So if you have 8% of the U.S. real estate market is done by foreigners, on the outbound side, 4 million Americans live overseas, excluding military and government personnel. So you have these huge amount of capital flows that are going back and forth. And our goals and objectives include products, programs, and services to meet these needs and to ensure that the proper infrastructure is in place so that when somebody in Vietnam has a client who is sent to the United States, they can work together with one of our members and both parties can partner together in this transaction to ensure smooth capital flows.
So Zachary, this is your first trip in Vietnam. I mean, why not sooner? Why wasn't before?
Well, that's a great question. You know, as you've heard, we have quite an operation elsewhere in Asia and lots of friends all over Asia. Frankly, it's very common for a market that we know that has potential for our members and for a partnership to mature in its own time.
Okay.
So essentially, I mentioned earlier our President's Liaison Program, our ambassadors, a gentleman who you're going to speak with, I think, shortly, Mr. Vin Nguyen. He is a broker from Virginia. He's our President's Liaison to Vietnam. And I like to say that our President's Liaisons really are our eyes and ears on the ground in a given market. So we have had actually a goodwill relationship with organizations here for a number of years. And we've had President's Liaisons, both Vin and his predecessor, who have come to Vietnam. But when they advise us that the time is right to come and cultivate a stronger, more structured relationship, that's when we really begin to invest the time to come to a market and to really launch it and launch the partnership. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're here at this particular time, because our data and the President's Liaison have both shown us that the time now is more optimal than in the past.
For the international markets, I mean, how do you expand? I mean, do you kind of pick out some certain areas and markets and you find some potential? And what is your strategy of expansion for the NAR?
Yeah, you know, it's a strategy that has to remain fairly loose. And Jeff, I think you can probably comment on this even in more detail. But The strategy really is, again, our priority is to serve our members to the greatest possible extent, to help them develop business, and then in the markets where we have partnerships, also to make sure that those partnerships are productive for the partner organizations and the members that we build, the membership base that we build in our partner countries. So really, we look at trends, like I said, how is the immigrant population doing? How mature is it? What is their readiness to really come back and start investing in their home market?
I'm just curious, where are all the hot markets right now?
Inbound in the United States, the number one buyers are coming from Canada and then from China. Those are, and then number 3 is Mexico. So those are the hot markets of buyers in the United States.
Okay.
As far as
China is number 1.
China's number 2 after Canada.
Okay.
So there is a lot of interest in property in the United States, and that mirrors what is happening in China. China's a very strong real estate market, as well as Canada. So we look at markets that are thriving and growing. The investment both in the United States and outside of the United States are increasing. Asia in general is a very thriving real estate market, very dynamic economies, and a lot of new construction and a lot of rapid growth in real estate. So that's what we're seeing. Canada, Mexico, and China are very strong markets.
Do you see any similarity between Asian markets, or each market follow different model, different rules? Do you see any difference?
Well, here's the trend that is very interesting in Asia is what we see is the proliferation of regulation in Asia. One of the challenges in some foreign markets are that the sales of real estate is not regulated. So anybody can sell real estate.
Yeah.
Literally anybody. And when it's not regulated, it makes some foreign investors nervous. So what we've seen in some markets, for example, the Philippines, Singapore, are very sophisticated real estate license laws that require that anyone transacting real estate must have the right education and must register. So what that does is it puts a very good framework in place in order to conduct real estate transactions. So really, we look for 2 factors. One is regulation in the market, helps organize it, helps get right standards in place so that with our members there's a degree of trust that someone has the right education and skills. And then for a market to be well organized and have an organizational structure like the National Association of Realtors. So ideally, these regulated professionals come under the umbrella of an organized group that has a code of ethics that is organized. That way we can quantify the number of real estate professionals in the country, and we can have the right infrastructure in place to do business. So we've just returned from the Philippines. They have a national real estate license laws, and this has changed the real estate market dramatically. And we're seeing it in Singapore as well, and many other markets. So that's a trend that we're seeing in Asia, is the professionalization of real estate, and it's happening very quickly, and it's very impressive. We're seeing it in many different countries at the same time. A very good trend.
I mean, for some of the markets that the regulation is not so organized, I mean, how do you overcome that challenge?
We're here as a resource to assist countries to the degree that they're interested in obtaining information and resources about how to organize better. Obviously, each country has its own peculiarities with regards to how it's organized. So what our organization can do is really be a catalyst for exchanging information about what is working in countries and what is not.
Thank you. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Vâng, thú vị vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của các vị khách mời xung quanh chủ đề Hiệp hội Bất động sản Hoa Kỳ National Association of Realtors, và chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại với phần 3 của chương trình.